Hello, friend. It's been 1 month. 1 month since the 5.9 hack changed the world. Everyone is trying to adjust. Evil Corp is trying to stay afloat. The US government is looking to find those responsible. And fsociety, they want the people to know that they're still fighting the good fight. As for Elliot, there are still 3 days missing. 3 days he cannot recall. And all he wants to know is where is Tyrell Wellick. It's Mr. Robot. Episode 2.0 Unmask. Parts 1 and 2. .tc. Hey everyone, D here, and welcome to Season 2 of Mr. Robot. An amazing show, award-winning, awards up and down for the cast, for the crew, for the show itself. Really a groundbreaking production, and I've been really looking forward to the return this summer. Now last year, when Mr. Robot first debuted, a friend of mine asked me what it was about. And the quickest connection that I can make for him, the quickest description that I could get to, was it's basically Fight Club for hackers. Now that was after watching the first episode, and little did I know how much those two ideas really would sort of sync up as the show progressed. Now while Fight Club tended to deal with consumerism and conformity, Mr. Robot deals more with the issues of the information technology around us and its control over us, our attempts to control it, but really how it can come in and control our lives. And of course, dealing with the same type of psychological issues, questionings, and a lot of great visual storytelling. And that is really one of the main strengths of this show. Its visual storytelling style. It is very much in the line of show me, do not tell me. And I think it does a great job with that. You basically take any scene in this show, pause it, and you have a picture. That's really one of the best ways of looking at this, is everything is like a moving picture, a piece of art, how everything is framed. From where you have Darlene addressing fsociety as she's standing over the balcony with the big banner hanging in the foreground right in front of her, to Elliot's writing down in his journals of what's going through and what's going on, silently telling us what is happening within his mind. Even the scene with Gideon when he was sitting talking to Elliot at Elliot's mom's place, that dark, drab coloring, that sort of off-center set with him and the mom sitting in the background, kind of in that controlling, overlooking mode. Each moment in here really is set up as a picture. They use a lot of color, they use a lot of tone, they use a lot of change of focus in order to tell this story and sort of bring things around. I thought it was just, I'd forgotten almost at how beautiful this show was, and this opening episode really sucks you right back in and lets you know this is going to be a visual treat. Now, as I said, the show starts off 1 month after the 5.9 hacks, and Elliot is still trying to recall the missing 3 days where the hack went down. And of course, he's also still being haunted by the ghost of his father. And he's attempted this sort of drab routine to sort of excise that ghost from his mind. And really what we end up having here is a war of personalities between Elliot and Mr. Robot, between Elliot and the ghost image of his father. And control really is the crux of this, and is a theme that really repeats and resonates throughout the episode, and probably will continue to do so throughout the season. All of these elements of control. Who has control? Who's trying to establish control? Like I said, we have Elliot and Mr. Robot, his father, trying to regain control back and forth. And I got to say, the scenes between Rami Malek and Christian Slater are just astounding. Top-notch performances, really gripping, a lot of emotion brought up, a lot of fear brought up, just extremely powerful every time they are together. In order to help do this control, not only has Elliot fallen into this drab routine, he has moved back home. He's moved back in with his mom, who is responsible for a lot of his early psychological scarring in many ways, but as he says, is the most controlling person he knows. He is trying to put himself in this environment where he feels everything is controlled, everything is set up to try and keep Mr. Robot from doing any more harm. And he's avoided technology completely in order to maintain that. But we also have, say, the control wrestling between Corp and the U.S. government. U.S. government trying to find out what happened, mostly trying to control the economic fallout of this. But Corp, not so much giving that up. Really a lot of wrestling between the two of them and start to find out who actually is in control on that level behind the scenes. You also have the sort of control element of technology, beautifully exemplified by the smart house that Madam Executioner, the head counsel over at Corp, had to deal with. Of course, Darlene uses that in order to force her out so they could use the house as sort of the new fsociety base of operations. But again, this really just illustrates how much technology has intercepted with our lives and how much control it can have over us. And then you have Angela, who is now working for Corp, and she is trying to wrestle control of her own life. The attempts that she had done with Elliot to try and get back to Corp, to try and get some justice for their parents, that never really worked out. So she is now with Corp. The attempt originally to try and change things on the inside, but really at this point it's trying for her to take control of her life, easily encapsulated on those nightly positive affirmations that she is giving herself, which sort of makes her a very cold, harsh person in the office. So we get a lot of changes of personality that are affected by that. But what we also see is that control is an illusion. And this is perfectly encapsulated in that sequence where Corp is trying to pay the ransom. Where they have to send out the chief officer in order to do that. And they're making all these decisions to try and control the outcome, to minimize how much exposure that they have. Little do they know that fsociety's entire plan is simply to have them burn the money with an fsociety mask on in front of a whole crowd. One, showing the control that fsociety has, but also their ability to infiltrate and steer Corp into what they want to do. And remember, with all of the technology that's fallen apart, with the complete wipe of debt and the inability of the banking system to really work, cash is king right now. So burning all of this cash, all of this real money right in front of everybody who may be struggling to get jobs, to access their own bank accounts, makes a large statement there. Again, the control that Corp thought that they had is completely gone. The same thing can be said of Gideon, who is being battered around by the outside forces. He's attempting to take control in that whole sequence with Elliot, where he is trying to be a small animal, showing he is a big animal. Beautiful lines carried out by Christian Slater right there. But as things end up, and the final sequence in the bar with him, where he acknowledges, sometimes it feels like somebody else is out in control, that I'm just a small little piece, that he is just the patsy. But as we see and as we know in history, the patsy is usually killed off. And unfortunately, that is what happens with Gideon. Again, another very shocking scene of showing who is actually in control there. And then, of course, it all comes back to Elliot and Mr. Robot. Elliot thinking that he has, at times, finally overcome the ghost of his father, that he can stare it down by remaining calm. That great final sequence where Mr. Robot is constantly shooting, and apparently this is done many, many times, as Elliot had noted in his journal, shoots him in the head as that kind of bam, let me make this statement. I mean, nothing is clear and more brutal and direct than a bullet to the head. Beautifully done sequences. But as Elliot can finally stare him down, go ahead and do it. He just wants to know where Tyrell Wellick is, who is being blamed for everything. But the control that Elliot thinks that he has, again, is an illusion. Because much like in Fight Club, the return of Tyler Durden is simply when you fall asleep. And the moment that Elliot loses consciousness, that's when Mr. Robot can come in and take control. As we catch in that final little sequence where we have the phone call to the far distant Mr. Wellick. My guess is it's Paris, France, with the bonsoir. That would be my easy guess right there. So, an amazing return of just an award-winning show that deserves all of the praise that is heaped upon it. And this is just the beginning. The one thing that we do know is that season 1 really was just the warm-up, just the primer. That this is where things are going to get really dark for Elliot, really expansive, a lot of back and forth, and I can't wait to see how this really develops out over the season. So, we've got fsociety taking on eCorp, we've got Elliot taking on Mr. Robot, and we've got us waiting for the next episode. If you did enjoy my review, go ahead, hit that subscribe button right there. You can always catch me on Twitter. I'm at Darren Jakes. Comments in the section below. What did you think of the episode? What are you really looking forward to on this? And how did you like all those little moments? What were your favorite scenes? I loved the bit of the old lady at the bank trying to get her money out, and that just constant back and forth of who would be in charge if things were very much different. It was just lovely little encapsulation right there of the war versus of people versus the large evil corporation. Just wonderful stuff. But what did you like? Go ahead and put that down in the section below. And of course, if you did like this, I'd appreciate that thumbs up. Anyway, that's it. I will be seeing you guys next week when we have the next episode, and I'm really looking forward to it. Hope you are too. I'm D, and I am out of here. You guys take care. Bye-bye.